What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 already of Reboot Engage with Ply and Preach. It's been a wild week in the video game world. It's been a wild weekend on planet Earth in general. What's going on, Preach? How are you, man? You look comfy over there.
Oh, I'm very comfy. Actually, this is a new chair made for fat people. So.
Is it?
Yeah, no, I've had it for like a month now, but it actually, you know, it's funny. It's made for big and tall.
Yeah.
And I'm big and short, or not big and short, but I'm only like 5'10".
Yeah.
So, you know, I would like it about a had an inch or two lower.
Are your feet anyway, dangling off it?
No. I can solidly place both my feet on the ground.
Okay.
But
that's nice.
I have a foot, right, like a, what do you call it, ottoman?
Yep.
And I put them up when that's actually one reason I don't have foot pedals for muting and stuff, because I put my feet up when I play. It's very comfortable. You should do it. But I like it a little bit more raised from my seat where my legs are going up, and this is up where it's like a little bit down. Yeah. So, you know, I'm just, you know, first world problems there. You know, I'm not as comfortable as I would like in my $300 chair, but.
So why don't you just go full in and just get a lazy boy, and then you can just stream from a lazy boy.
I used to do that. And I thought about doing it, but the lazy boy, I can't move it up when I want to play like serious, like Call of Duty or something.
Oh, okay.
Where I can. Otherwise, I would 100% just like if I did what you did and I play with a controller all the time, I would just stream from a lazy boy, 100%.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that was like half a shot at me, and I'm not really sure.
Well, no. I'm just saying.
Controllers for life.
Yeah.
Why don't you just stream from a hot tub then? I mean, why don't you just be fully comfortable? Why don't you just jump right into a hot tub? Make tons of money. Let's go, man. Let's go. Oh, we should probably leave that on. We got to edit this for YouTube. So
well, that's okay. They didn't see anything. You know, that's why I got my camera.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you put a little tape on the nips. So
yeah, we're good.
We might as well talk about the elephant in the room. The big news this week, Twitch finally being put into the hot spot, stuck between a rock and a hard place over this huge meta trend of hot tub, quote unquote, streaming. And their response was, I would say I was cross-eyed when I read their giant corporate, overly worded response to it, but they're trying to find that middle ground. I figured we'd just take a quick dive into it. So for those people who don't know, Twitch, obviously the biggest used to be video game streaming site in the world. Now it's everybody streams everything from, you know, sports to going to get a cup of coffee. They had a trend start recently where mostly ladies were jumping into hot tubs and, you know, kind of finding that wiggle room all the way around Twitch's terms of service and making tons and tons and tons of money. And it started taking off and taking off and taking off. So Twitch finally, I think, based upon Twitch's response, it seems like their advertisers were like, dude, what the F, man? We didn't sign up for, you know, kind of an OnlyFans experience. You know, we're paying to run ads on channels that play video games and Dungeons and Dragons. So
right.
Twitch had to respond, but at the same time, Twitch has taken a very, let's call it, left of center position on a lot of these issues, and they know if their response is wrong, which on a lot of these things, Twitch fumbles all over the place, right? Can we agree on that on a lot of these things? They knew that if they screw up this response, there's going to be huge backlash. That I didn't really want to myself analyze it from a moral position myself. I was analyzing it from a business position, thinking about it as like a CEO or you know, just taking the feelings or the morality out of it and just looking at it in terms of business. And to me, when I read Twitch's response, I was kind of like, are you guys effing kidding me? How much money did you guys rake in while you pretended to ignore this trend for months and months? And now all of a sudden the pressure is so high, you have to do something about it. If Twitch was really concerned with this particular type of behavior, they would have nipped this in the bud months ago when it started to appear on their website. Or they would have months ago done what they did now to separate these particular types of streams from the other streams. So they were raking in the dough. They were skirting around it until the pressure got too high, and whoever the sponsor was finally said, dude, we don't want our ads running on this kind of stuff. Like, it's just not for our product. It's not our demographic, or we just don't want to be associated with it. It's the same thing as like the WWE, right? Had a hard time getting advertisers during the Attitude Era when Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and Triple H, and they were all swearing, and people were wrestling in mud and bikinis, and it was just a wild time. Wrestling was more popular than ever from 1997 to like 2001. Arenas were packed all over the place. Pay-per-view records were being broken, and they couldn't get it. WWE had a hard time getting advertisers above Snickers. No disrespect to Snickers, but no, they couldn't get any big-time advertisers to advertise with them because they really didn't want to be associated with that particular type of content. So I think Twitch found itself in the same kind of position, and the WWE ended up switching to TV PG and cutting all that out. Now WWE's ratings went down because it became a more I want to say sanitized product, right? However, their advertising revenue shot through the roof, and then they signed $1 billion deal with Fox Sports. So Twitch was kind of stuck in that same thing where the way they run their mouth put them in one corner, and their advertisers in advertise. Dude, come on, let's be honest. These companies don't give a rat's ass about any of these causes that they pretend to care about. They don't, their Twitter posts and all this stuff. It's all marketing. It's all like, okay, what month is it? What is this? Let's jump on the train. And once corporations jump on the train too much, trends are over. People will go do other things because, but these advertisers do have a huge sway, right? So that's the only reason Twitch reacted to this. Twitch would have let this go because they didn't want to cause a shitstorm. You know what I mean? They would have let it go, and then so their response was, oh, okay, let's just put them in their own category. Now, to me, it seems like, I could be wrong, they got a promotion, the people who were causing the issues. They got their own category.
Right.
Which, to be honest with you, they should have had their own category for maybe, I don't know if risque is the right word, but like a risque category that's like super hardcore PG-13 kind of shit like that. I would have had that category ready to go and not just dumped it into just chatting, because just chatting is too broad, right? Even though Twitch loves just chatting is everything. So, I mean, to have their own category for pools, I think they call it pools, spas, and beaches, that's fine. But they should have done that off the jump instead of batting themselves in a corner, because now they're not going to make anybody happy. Or they should have just outright told everybody, hey, man, don't try to play games with our terms of service.
Yeah,
to anybody who wants to do this kind of stuff, don't do it. It's not there's other websites you can do that on, is what they could have said.
Well, here's the thing. I get, first, their argument is, part of me gets like, oh, somebody's at the beach, they'll be wearing a bathing suit. We don't want to keep people from being able to stream from the beach. But there is obviously a difference between being at a beach or a public pool and it just happening to be like you're streaming from that location, and building a small kiddie pool in your streaming room inside of an apartment and wearing thongs inside of a house, like it's a string barely covering tiny, triangle bikini. I do think like this could have been solved with some rational, just like, okay, come on, you know what you're trying to do. Stop doing that. A kiddie pool inside of your house doesn't get, but I'm sure somebody would try to, not everybody can afford to go to the beach, or everybody can afford to go to a large pool, or some sort of, I'm sure there's some other argument that somebody would have come up with to, try to justify it. But in reality, we all know what they were doing,
Yeah, no, they were smart. They found the loophole in the terms of service. They exploited it. They know the demographic generally of Twitch, right? They know the overall audience is, younger men. So they're not stupid. I actually admire their business sense. Like, they found it and they ran with it. It's kind of like, other streamers on other platforms figured out loopholes and things and exploited those. On Facebook Gaming a year ago, Facebook wasn't very clear that you had to tag the right game that you were playing, right? So a lot of streamers figured out, well, hey, if I tag Warzone, I'll get more algorithm, but I can go play whatever I want. Or if I tag Grand Theft Auto 5, I can still play whatever I want. So they weren't technically, even though just other people would be like, that's kind of gross. You're lying when you tag Grand Theft Auto, but you're playing something else. That wasn't really in the terms of service. So Facebook had to come down. They made some people mad, but they had to change it and said, moving forward, you better be tagging the game that you're playing. Like they had to rework it because they were learning. Now Twitch has been in the game for way too long for us to think that they're that stupid where they would get caught flat-footed. They saw the money. This is my take on it. They saw the money coming in and they thought, all right, it was like the body painting thing. Remember the body painting thing they had going on last year or the year before? Where ladies were, mostly ladies, I'm sure there were some guys too. But
I mean, body paint's been around for a while, but yeah.
No, but come on, man. Like, I'm not saying it was wrong or whatever, but they figured out, hey, if I just put some paint here, then we're gonna make some money. And you know, so it's just an evolution or extension of that business practice. Just Twitch has to figure out a way, in my opinion, to separate, and I think they're starting to try to figure that out. If they start to fully go down that road, advertisers will abandon. They've got to figure out how to split that off into like maybe a rating system for, like, they have the 18 plus. Just have something where certain advertisers can go one way. We can protect kids and other people. They can go another way. Where, you know what I'm saying? Like it would just like a movie. Like back in the day, I'm old, right? So a video game store, a video store, movie rental store. You know, like there was different sections to the video store. And you couldn't rent an R-rated movie unless you had a license and you were over 17. And then the really bad movies were in the back behind the curtain. So unless your parents weren't watching you well and you could sneak back there and take a look at it, you weren't. Everything was kind of categorized and separated. You know what I mean? And I think that's what Twitch really has to do now, is say, because I don't fault the people who are doing it at all. Like, they were playing by the rules that were established in the game. I blame Twitch 100% for this entire fiasco, because they didn't handle it up front. They were dumb enough not to see what would come down the pike with their big corporations and advertisers that fund their site, and they didn't take into consideration their creators and keep them open with communication. They could have jumped on them right away and said, hey man, you know, like, we can't do that. Or they could have said, is that something that's going to make money? And that's something that a lot of people want. Let's move that over to the side and let's figure out a different way to have that with maybe different advertisers who would advertise to that. And let's keep that off. Let's keep that away from the Fortnite category. Or let's, you know what I mean? So I blame Twitch 1,000% for upper management Twitch for this particular fiasco.
Yeah, I mean, it's a natural extension, even the body paint too, from what went back and what a lot of people call titty streamers, right? Like, I mean, it's a natural progression from there. That, you know, that's the whole idea, and so I understand how they're trying, because at some point in time they have to be like, okay, this isn't, you know, just a little bit of cleavage. We're not going to, just because you know, we're not going to require everyone to wear, you know, closed neck t-shirts on camera or whatever. But there's obviously somewhere a middle ground. And the problem is, especially when you get like with Twitch, you are going to have to figure out a way to codify what you're wanting in legal terms that can be actionable. And so, you know, that's where I think the tough part is, and why they're more reactionary than they are preventative, is because, like, you don't want your code terms to reach too far down the other way, to where just because there's a busty lady who's streaming, and we all know that's why people are watching her. You know, there's not much else going on in that stream other than there's a busty lady streaming a video game. But, you know, you don't want her to be punished because of, you know, the chicks who are having nip slips while they're, you know, having a bikini fest in their apartment room or whatever. So, I mean, I get on that aspect. I mean, I agree. I'm agreeing with you. Twitch has to do something, but I also understand why it's a fairly complicated situation, because whatever your terms are, people are going to part and parcel it and figure out a way to wiggle it. You know, they're going to try to, or if the people who got banned, let's say, they're always getting cranky, right? And so then they're going to be like, well, what about this person? She's letting her cleavage out on stream. People are finding that sexually attractive. You know, it's like, you have to somehow balance that, and that's tough,
Twitch isn't consistent. So, like, there was a time, I think, I apologize for not remembering their names, but I remember one time there was a lady who maybe threw a cat, or something happened where she was streaming and she got mad at her cat or something, threw her cat, and she got whacked for, like, I don't know, a 7-day suspension or something. But then there was a bigger streamer lady who did the same exact thing, where she whacked her cat or something happened. This is a couple years ago, and she got no punishment. So Twitch itself is like, it's the Wild West sometimes with their upper management, where they're not really moderating their content very well, and this is where gray areas get exploited and Pandora's boxes are opened, and then you're stuck on the defensive and you're stuck reacting to things as opposed to laying. Because in their terms of service, if you look at it on their website, which I did before the podcast, if you read their terms of service that existed before all this stuff happened, they have sexually explicit content is like 100% banned, like pornography, things like that. Yeah. And then they have sexually suggestive content is prohibited. Well, I mean, if you're reading that as a black and white, if I go lay in a kiddie pool with my Borat thong bikini on, which I might do if it keeps making this much money, right? And if I keep getting in better shape, I might jump on this fucking train. But if I lay in there and I'm hanging out, doing things and, flexing a little bit and swimming around with my duckies, my rubber duckies, that's kind of suggestive. I mean, there's really no gray area to what's going on in the video. I mean, that's why, it has a bigger audience, is because and there's a beautiful person doing things that you're like, oh, I wish I was in the hot tub. That's all it's just, it's caveman reactionary shit. So if Twitch was really enforcing their terms of service on a lot of these things, not just, I don't want to just pick on hot tubs, they would nip these things in the bud right away. There's nothing a quick email or a phone call or something to a creator or a text message. Hey, we reviewed last night's stream. It's not something we can really have on this site. Maybe there's something else you could do, or here's a list of other sites that will do things like that. Just kind of.
Yeah, but that would take effort on their. Like they don't even. That's the other thing. They usually don't bother to send you like a warning shot. A lot of times it's like,
that's bullshit too.
And then they cut that, because Facebook did that to me, right?
Yeah, they all did that.
It took me and you combined like 2.5 hours of digging through Facebook to figure out even where I could find out that I was blocked.
Yeah.
But I mean, Twitch does the same thing where they just like, you're either on or you're off. It's an on and off switch. And
they still haven't told Doc why he was banned.
Yeah, it's like,
if you believe
what you're
that.
saying would require them to have people actually communicate and say, hey, this is what we're thinking. And but see, there's also the fear that from a corporate standpoint is when you're more open, then you're more open to open about your reasons, then you're more open to counter reasons, and people saying, well, that's not fair because of this, or here's how this fits in your terms, or here's another person, and then they're stuck having to go through and deal with a million different users by the time it's all said and done. And so I understand part of it is I don't agree with it, but part of the reason they're doing this is it gives them the ability to curate as they want, as opposed to as their terms of services require, or they're trying, like you said, they're trying to kind of meander through. And if you're a big person who generates a lot of money, they're going to be less likely to, because they don't want to curate you. They don't want to tell you to change what you're doing. They want that money to roll in through your service. Whereas there's someone else smaller, they can take the small financial hit that they would get from suspending that person and use them as this is the example. Look, we will get you if you do these things, and try to kind of use that, and it just allows them to be kind of wishy-washy if you don't actually give a full reason.
I agree, but on the flip side of that, any prosecutor would tell you that if they want a behavior to stop, they'll go bag a big fish to send a signal to all the other fish that if we're willing to bag this fish, we're taking down Al Capone. All you little smaller gangsters better cut your shit. Stop selling booze during Prohibition, because we just nabbed the big guy. So
that can backfire. That actually you brought. I wouldn't think about that,
but I'm just saying that would be the alternate.
Nade Shot canceled his partnership with Twitch because he wanted to play with Dr. Disrespect.
Yeah.
And since they wouldn't let, not only were they not having Dr. Disrespect on their platform, they wouldn't let people who were on their platform, like Tim the Tatman, they wouldn't let any of them play with him. And Nade Shot was like, fine, screw you. I make enough money outside of my partnership status that I want to be able to play with whoever I want to play with. And that could start occurring.
Yeah.
A little, you gotta kind of,
like this trend with Twitch, with the hot tubs. If Twitch doesn't handle this right, the internet can roll. So all of a sudden, enough people, it could go the way of MySpace very quickly, you know, and Facebook's got to be careful of this too, and Twitter's already, you know, been on the downswing for a while and things like that. The internet catches something and people will wave towards that thing and away from something else, right? So
right.
If the taste in our mouths gets too bad for whatever Twitch is doing, people will leave, and there will be an alternative that pops up, whether Trovo takes off, who knows, or Facebook Gaming, or YouTube Live, or Rumble, or any of these other ones that are trying to maneuver their way through. And these other smaller companies are watching very closely what Twitch is doing and learning from their mistakes and saying, all right, we got to figure out a way to not get trapped in this hot tub situation. We got to figure out a way not to get trapped in this, you know, with this people quitting because they can't play. They're figuring out, let those guys take the bullets. We're going to figure out a way around that. So when we get big, we already got something laid down, a system ready to go where those things don't happen. You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't blame I don't blame the streamer at all, because you don't build up
just taking advantage of what's there. Exactly. No, I get it. Yeah.
I would. As long as it wasn't
baseball.
Yeah.
With andro testing, right? It wasn't, and even steroids. It wasn't illegal. You can't really blame the players if it was fully if there's no repercussions. Of course they're professional athletes who making literally the difference of sometimes 10 million per year is whether or not they take this steroid or andro testing, which is I think HGH. Of course they're going to do whatever it takes to get that next tier performance if you don't tell them not to do it. And so, it's a similar concept. People are going to do what they need to do to succeed.
That's a very good analogy, because in baseball, professional sports, streaming, whatever it is, the competition level is actually extremely high. Now, in baseball, obviously, it's a smaller pool of people, and they were playing up in the show, right? So, but in streaming, there's millions and millions and millions of streamers. So, to get there,
I don't know. That's what I'm wondering, because really, streaming. Thing is, the entry is the equivalent of going out and playing Parks and Rec softball. Me, I am basically Parks and Rec softball, right? Like, I'd come in, got a few people, and that's so I think you got your different tiers. The competition
AA,
at the elite
AAA,
level,
I get it.
Yeah, the competition at the elite level is probably on par. But when you're talking about, how many kids play Little League?
No, but these streamers have to break themselves out of that pool at the bottom where, listen to anybody who's an aspiring streamer. We love you. Thank you so much for listening. We've been at this for a long time. Sitting there playing Warzone or Fortnite, just playing the game in 2021 is not going to cut it anymore. That was like 10, 15 years ago, where people wanted to. It was a novelty. Oh, this dude's playing, or this lady's playing this game online. I'm gonna go check this out. Now you have to take that net. You have to really stand out, right? So I don't blame, like I said, the streamer for standing out. They found something they could exploit. They're now, I can think of a few off the top of my head who I recognize from things other than hot tub streams at this point, because they were smart enough to exploit it, get the publicity, make the money, and move up the food chain, man. And Twitch did not set the ground rules right. So Twitch is the, what's his name there, the commish of baseball that I can't stand. Twitch is being run by that guy, Rob there. I forgot that guy's name. I
know who you're talking about, but honestly, I haven't even kept up with,
I haven't either, so
what
not in a while.
What personal team does. Yeah.
So they're being run by a bunch of squishy corporate that nobody has a backbone. Have a backbone. Either say, dude, hot tubs are cool.
By what Twitter says than they are actual
Twitter doesn't represent the world. So Twitter represents what has like
the worst of the world, if anything.
But Twitter is not necessarily the people on Twitter are smart because they scream the loudest. But there's how many, what does it got? 200 million users, 300 million users, something like that? I don't know the exact data. It's not Facebook big.
Give me a second. I can look it up
go ahead. Facebook is 2.2 billion people, I mean, Facebook, and it's funny how everybody likes to dump on Facebook sometimes. because obviously Facebook makes a lot of weird decisions and tough decisions and bad decisions. And everybody's like, oh, Facebook's for old people. Well, really? There's 2.2 billion people on Facebook, so, or whatever it was the last time I checked. It's in the billions. Whereas Twitter and these others, like, they're a lot smaller, man. It's like when I was younger, I used to think Coke and Pepsi were like equivalent in size. It's not even close. Like Coca-Cola Enterprises is like 10 times the size of Pepsi-Cola. Like it's not even close in terms of net worth of company and how many customers they sell and how many bottles of soda they sell. I really thought Pepsi was equal to Coke.
Especially since they have like, doesn't Pepsi own like Doritos and
they own Taco Bell and some other things? Yeah, no, so Coca-Cola owns a ton of crap too. But Coca-Cola is way bigger as a company. And then like UPS and FedEx, everybody thinks, well, you can ship UPS or you can ship FedEx. UPS is like so much bigger than FedEx as a company in terms of planes, trucks, net worth, packages shipped, contracts around the world. It's just insanely bigger, but you think based on advertising and other, and you know, and just culture, that they're equal, you know, and they're not. They're not even close if you're just looking. So Twitter is not even close to Facebook in terms of overall. I mean, I don't even know if Twitter makes money, to be honest with you. I'd have to look. I know for years it was losing money.
Excuse me. They've actually said that the
They might have turned it around. Jack Dorsey.
Jack Dorsey. He doesn't make any money off of Twitter. All his money comes from like
Square. Comes from Square.
Square. Yeah.
Yeah, from the payment.
From other sources. And so, I think actually it took Twitter, they may have finally started turning a profit like a couple years ago, but for the entirety of they operated at a loss. Well, according to the books. According to the books. Now, books are also kept in such a way to that, you know,
Christopher Columbus
every year.
Christopher Columbus had 2 sets of books.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just, I just think moving forward, Twitch really has to learn their lesson to communicate with your creators, man. Facebook too, listen to us. Just communicate with your creators. You know, tell them the truth. Tell them what you're looking for. Tell them what works, you know? Ask for ideas, you know? I mean, McDonald's didn't invent the Big Mac on their own, right? So be communicated. If the streamer is doing if the streamers are doing something that is detrimental to that you believe, I should say, is detrimental to the actual product name or the website, reach out to them. You know, a text message. If thousands of people are watching somebody in a hot tub, then thousands of people are in on this. Someone at Twitch can send a text message or review it and nip it in the bud before it becomes an issue, or reach out to them and say, hey, you know, let's figure out a way to make sure that you can still make great content, the content that obviously your audience or community likes, but we got to move it over here to a different section of Twitch. Just figure those things out before every major publication in the country runs with it, in the world runs with it, and you start getting beat up again. You know what I mean? Like, all it takes is, like, I'm sure the streamers, most of them, I can't speak for all of them, would appreciate someone from upper management or the moderation department coming to them and saying, hey, you know, we noticed this the other day. We got, you know, let's have a meeting. Let's talk about it. Let's see what we could do to try to keep your creativity going. But, you know, we got to make sure we're following the terms of service, too. So let's check it out, you know, or whatever. And, you know, they just paint themselves in these dumbass corners. Yeah. And then nobody likes them from the left to right or the center. Everybody gets pissed at them. Like, dude, pick an audience or say we cater to everybody. Cater to everybody. That's fine. That's what I like. Move them off to the side. You know, just put them in their own section. Put those people who want. Just make different sections and then tell advertisers. And the advertisers do pick who they want to. The advertisers do pick who they want to advertise with. So have the advertisers, you know, who come in. There are plenty of advertisers who would advertise streams like that. Plenty. It's not like I mean, you know who would advertise a stream like that and make tons of money? A dating site, you know, or something like that would be like, oh, okay, there's some lonely people who are not in a relationship. They're, you know, let's date here. Let's throw that on there. Or, you know what I mean, whatever. They would advertise over there. And then or fitness people would be like, this is great, let's sell our product over there. Maybe someone wants to get in shape or doesn't feel so healthy, they're over there. Or it could be anything. Could be beauty products. Let's get some beauty products over there. Let's get some swimwear advertisements over there. Whatever it is, there's an audience. There's people who will buy it. On the flip side of that, kids, Rice Krispies doesn't want to be advertising their cereal on a stream like that. Understandable. So,
right.
You know what I mean? So just separate it out, man. And then and then just say, look, you got to follow the terms of service, but you can stay over there and do your PG. I call it PG-13. To me, it's like a super PG-13 line. It's not R-rated, but it's like right there.
It's getting real close. Yeah.
It's getting close,
I have the numbers if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me hear it.
The world's most used social platforms as of 17th of April, 2021.
Okay.
Facebook has 2.7 billion.
Oh, I undershot it. Okay, it's 2.7.
YouTube has 2.2 billion, or basically 2.3 billion, actually.
Okay, so there, all right.
WhatsApp has 2 billion.
Yeah, WhatsApp's owned by Facebook, by the way.
Yeah, well, guess what the next one is? Facebook Messenger is at 1.3 billion.
Facebook
Instagram. Instagram is at 1.287 billion.
You see what I mean? Twitter's like nothing.
Yeah, TikTok is now at 732 million. They're probably one of the first. There's a Zen WeChat.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
Might be
Then there's Douyin. There's like a lot of actual then you're starting to get over into like the Chinese and Asian based.
Yeah, so you're what Twitter's.
So you wanted to know. Okay, Snapchat has 528 million.
Yeah, that makes no money.
Pinterest has 459 million. Reddit has 430. Here's Twitter, 396 according to them. It's almost at the very bottom of it's right above.
That's what I'm saying. 2.7 billion users on Facebook. That's Pepsi and Coke, dude. That's what I was trying to say. Like, it's not even close.
Wait a minute. Sina Weeaboo. So I'm pretty sure that's just an anime-based platform. Sina Weeaboo has 521 million. It has about 130 million more than Twitter. That's ridiculous.
And corporations.
Twitter's being,
Well, because the Twitter people scream the loudest.
Yeah.
And there's like, they're all Cartman, so they all scream. And I've seen advertisers get scared off of one tweet, and then you look at the tweet, and the person got like 2 followers, and it was, you know what I mean? Like, what? Like, I wouldn't even acknowledge that tweet. Like, who is that? You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying by Twitch and those guys. Now, to be fair to Twitter, as a Facebook gaming content creator, for me to get information on a daily basis about what's going on Facebook gaming from the creators and from the management of Facebook gaming, a lot of times I got to be on Twitter to do it, and that's ridiculous. So Facebook gaming is the biggest social media Facebook is the biggest social media platform in the world. I got to go to another social media platform to find out about bugs, to find out about trends, to watch other streamers and their clips, to talk to people who work at Facebook. I got to go over to Twitter. I don't ever want to go over to Twitter. I'm a Facebook gaming content creator first and foremost. I want to stay here. I want to nurture this platform. I want to communicate on this platform. I want to give content to this platform. I want to jump in a hot tub on this platform. Whatever it takes. Yeah.
Bath. Let's go.
Let's go.
Too fat, man. Don't lose weight. We're just going to roll around each other. Oh, there's an audience for that.
Can I put my treadmill in the hot tub with a bag of ghost pepper chips?
I see no scientific reason why electrically driven treadmill would not work perfectly fine underwater. I think you should go for it.
Yeah, I think we should too.
I think that's your next step.
That's my next step. That's my next evolutionary step. I'm gonna be skydiving pretty soon, like for real skydiving with a camera. As Grandma Babushka, as the Macho Ply. Jumping out of a plane.
Yeah, I'm pissing myself right now.
I would die, dude. I hate flying and I hate heights, so I would never jump out of a first of all, it's very hard to get me on an actual plane. Second of all, I would not jump out of a perfectly good plane for anything unless I was Indiana Jones and the plane was going down and I had a raft. Like, that's the only way I would jump out of an actual plane. Like, that's insane.
Oh, yeah.
To me. So if it's not for military purposes, I don't think, I just wouldn't do it. Now, I don't fault anybody for doing it. If you want to do it, knock yourself out. Have a good time. Just like I don't fault these people for jumping in these hot tubs. I don't. Knock yourself out. Have a good time. If you're making money, you're making money. Let's just do it the right way. Let's make sure the audience that is to you is the audience that should be to you. And my only concern with things like this is to make sure that, like, my children somehow don't accidentally come across certain things that I don't want them to see as children.
Yeah, well, that's your job as a parent.
Yeah, that's it. Other than that, if you're all consenting adults, consent it.
That's the job of the educational system, to parent for you. Sorry. We'll pull back from that. We'll pull back.
That's a different podcast for a different time.
Sorry, that's a different
But I'm
time.
just saying, I don't besmirch anybody for doing what they do, man. Like, knock yourself. If that money was rolling in, that's incentive. You got to take care of yourself and your family first, right? So if that money's rolling in, that money's rolling in. If you're not hurting anybody, technically, right? If you're not hurting anybody, the money's rolling in. I mean, it's not illegal behavior. So we're not talking about anything that's illegal per se. We're not talking about anything that is like this isn't dramatically detrimental to society, but at the same time, just, you know, categorize it right. Twitch, handle your business, bro. Like, you should have done that shit months ago. Like,
well, part of me likes the current risk reward now that they have to get, because like I can't remember who it was, but she was one of the bigger hot tub streamers, and she's been doing it for a while. And I mean, she had just the slightest little, you know, and it wasn't like the nipple. It was like the areola, the area around, the areola,
edge of the areola.
Yeah, the edge, the bumpy part. That part like took a little like hello, and then she caught it like real quick. Like,
yeah, it was an accident.
Maybe 2 seconds.
Was it an accident?
But she got kicked. And so part of me goes, you know, the greater the risk, the greater the reward. It's up there where, like, oh yeah, sure, you can go as scantily clad as you want. But know that if that, you know, just a little bit of the dark skin pops out there, you could lose your entire channel. Because I don't think they suspended her. I think they like ended the channel. They're like, nope.
I would hazard to guess that behind the scenes, Twitch is looking for a way to knock a lot of these people off the platform by waiting for an excuse. Just because they tweet something, or just because they come out with a public statement that's 96 paragraphs long when it could have been a half a paragraph, doesn't mean that's what they really believe in the boardroom. Everything you read is bullshit. Everything you read everywhere is generally bullshit.
Especially coming from a corporation.
It's all run through lawyers. It's all like CEOs of movie studios and everything will never say a show is canceled. They never use the word really canceled. They'll just say, you know, that's over for now, or you know, that we're finishing our run on this one, or they generally don't use the word canceled for a show from the corporation, because they don't, that sounds awful. So
you say we haven't renewed it for another season.
Yeah, we haven't renewed it.
In other words, it's like, it's still out there. Yeah, we could come bring it back.
Or someone else could buy it from us because it has value. Yeah. We just didn't renew it, but maybe it'll work for you, Netflix. Or whatever. So they never use the word canceled. So don't believe just because Twitch or one of these other, that was run through lawyers, a marketing department, 17 kids just out of college with degrees in marketing trying to figure out what words to use. That's what that is. But behind the scenes, they're probably looking at it going, keep an eye on these people. Anybody slips a nip, anything, you yank them and you let them know, oh, we gave you the opportunity. We gave you your own category. But you took it too far. You clearly know you're not supposed to have this, that, or the other thing. Like, they're waiting for the hook. Like, when a company doesn't want to do something, but they don't want to do as much of it, but they don't want to cut the service, right? What they'll do is they'll raise the price on it. They'll raise the price just enough where most people will say no, and the few pain in the asses who say yes, they'll make enough money where it'll be worth it. And so I guarantee that's what Twitch is kind of navigating right now. They're like,
there's a lot of taxation that works that way too, right?
Yeah,
like,
of course.
You know, cigarette tax and stuff like that, depending on the state, you know. Yeah. That's their way of trying to, just tax it out of usage.
Yeah, or the people who are going to do it, I think that's a backdoor tax on people who don't make a lot of money, to be honest with you. But because generally people who smoke or drink are the people who don't have as much, like, very affluent people generally do not smoke a pack a day and drink as much, believe it or not. Like, they've done surveys, but they don't want poorer people to think that they're paying taxes. So what they do is they super tax vices, and that's how they backdoor tax people who are poor or lower middle income or middle income. Yeah, because
some of it does apply to cigars, and that is a super, like,
yeah, but
statistically that's like a super high, like,
it is.
Well, they are trying to, I will say this, the cigar industry is trying to separate itself from cigarettes and, like, because of the way they make their stuff. I mean, they use CDC. You know, they're doing a lot of stuff to get themselves to where like a premium $10 cigar is not considered the same thing as a pack of cigarettes, because kids don't, you know, buy a cigar and then try to smoke it out behind, you know, the bathroom in between classes, you know, because the cigar is an hour and a half long investment. It's a $10 cigar. You know, it's you don't see a lot of kids and youth doing that. That's usually a more adult. It's much harder to say, oh, we're trying to protect society from a cigar, from a premium cigar. I'm not talking gas station. From like a top tier premium cigar than it is the other way around. But you're not wrong. I mean, I'm not.
Well,
I'm just saying, like,
the volume of cigars that is sold, like just compared to the volume of packs of cigarettes that are sold, it's not even. You know, it's just generally lower income people, and you know, I mean, I used to smoke and drink a lot when I was younger too. I didn't have a lot of money, and I was partying and whatever. My job was not as good as I wanted it to be, or whatever the situation is. I drank and smoked more, so it's just a way to make sure the tax revenues come. Like in Connecticut, a pack of cigarettes now, I don't even know, but I think it's over $10, right?
Wow,
the actual pack of cigarettes, I think, is like $1.50. It's like $9 in taxes, and it goes into the general fund. Give me a fucking break. What does the general fund mean? It just means they're blowing the money on whatever they want. So that's not even the general fund. Like, I have a general fund at my house. It's always in the negative, right? So it's the general fund. Like,
I was gonna say the general funds,
but
Christmas parties and
But Twitch is, you know, Twitch, Facebook, all these guys, all these corporations, and their back room is totally different than the images and the messages that they project in the front. So a lot of times you got to read super in between the lines to figure out what is really going on behind the scenes. And I would assume with this one, Twitch is looking at it from a revenue standpoint. Wow, these streamers are raking in a lot of dough. Number one. Number two, they're pissing off advertisers. So we got to figure out how to keep that revenue coming in and not piss off advertisers. All right, everybody, get your notepads out. How do we word this the right way? Let's get these people over to the side of Twitch where they can still make money, and our advertisers who advertise other more family-friendly or kid-friendly products will get off our ass. And that's it. Twitch doesn't care about the hot tub streamer. Twitch doesn't care about the viewer. Twitch doesn't care about the advertiser per se. They just don't want to lose the account. Twitch only cares about how do we shut everybody up? How do we keep the revenue stream going? That's it. That's the whole, so they can pretend and dance around and make cute videos and messages about how they feel good and all this. It's all bullshit. How do we keep the money coming in? And how do we keep the advertisers happy? Where do we throw that dart? And that is the bottom fucking line.
Yeah, I was gonna say also video game companies do the same thing. It's one of the most frustrating things is when I see people in like chat rooms be like, I can't believe that they like are trying to make money off it. I'm like, what? Literally, the video game companies are there because they want to make money, and there's investors who put millions of their dollars, and you don't risk $1 million and get $1,010,000 back. You know, you want a general return on your income. And so it's like, yeah, of course that's just part of the shtick. I mean, they were talking about, what was Battlefield, I think, EA, with the new, all the new engines that they've been researching. They spent like, it was a couple $2 billion on R&D. Just on research and development that will go into in the back end. So people always go, oh, this video game costs this much. They don't include the R&D costs, the back end cost. Like, there's billions of dollars that aren't included in those costs. And so, I don't know. I'm always one of those, I'm like, yeah, of course they're trying to make money. I mean, it's up to me to not, like, that's why I like, you know, say the Warzone model. I don't have to buy a skin. Like, it's if I want to, I can pay for an overpriced skin. But if I just want to play the game and actually enjoy the game and compete, I don't have to. And that's, you know, I prefer that because whatever. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the, like, you know, everything that's ever created for this game over the next 10 years should be covered in a $60 one-time purchase. You know, it's like, well, I mean, as long as they give you a complete game and you are getting a complete experience that if it ended and they didn't have extra content come out later, you would have been satisfied. Because people forget, we're old enough, we remember. You were given a cartridge on the NES, half the time it didn't work, but you still were like, okay, that's it. And you paid for it and you're stuck with it.
Yeah. I was blowing in the cartridge. To get it to work. Yeah, man. No,
you did the little like.
I agree. I would say that sometimes, well, first of all, Warzone's free, right? So
Yeah, well, that's what I'm
It
saying.
doesn't. Yeah, so they gotta make money somehow. I would say that if you want to support the developers and you want to keep content coming out for the game, then yeah, you buy some cool stuff that you don't have to. You should support the things that you like, right? So. There have been some games. There have been some games that I've played in the past that were free to play or that were very low entry level cost to play, and I have bought things that I normally wouldn't buy. Not a ton, but I bought things that I normally wouldn't buy just because I'm like, dude, I spend a lot of time in this game. There's people behind the scenes working on this stuff pretty damn hard or whatever they're doing. I gotta throw them some dough, man. Like. There's been apps on the computer that I've downloaded that they are free shareware that I've used in the past. There was one, I think it was, excuse me, I think it was called Open Office. I remember using a long time ago. It was kind of like the free version of Microsoft Word because, back in the day, it was a lot more expensive to get into the Microsoft Office game when I was younger and in school and everything. And so I would use Open Office. Well, Open Office was, I don't know if it's still around, but Open Office, it probably is. Open Office was free, but they'd ask for a donation. I donated. I'm like, dude, I can't afford the $100 that Word cost back in the day, but I can afford to give you guys $5 or $10 for making this free version for everybody. And they'd ask for donations. That's how the world goes, man. Like I don't do anything for free in the business world. I'm not gonna lie.
By the way, Twitch, can you do me a favor and take off channel points because those suck? Because that's what sorry, I've had people in the past few been like, you should do more for your channel point. And I'm like, yeah, I should. I'm trying to think of something that's like I couldn't, I'm not gonna strip off my shirt. I'm not gonna do too much on like character actions and stuff like that. But because that's the only way you can monetize when you're streaming until you become a partner and they pay you anyway, right? Like you have to, but you also have to like dabble that to where if you want to build your channel. You want to make it entertaining and at least make this channel point kind of have some value, I guess. But I mean, channel points are so easy. They're just high inflation. That's the problem. People are like, oh, I've got 1,000 points. I'm like, yeah, because you get 300 for a comment. It's like, yeah, it's easy to get. Therefore, coming from our perspective, it's like we can't take. Because they were, maybe take a swig of grape juice for a certain amount of channel points, or do it's like, because I want to, if I sing a song that somebody tells me like, here's the topic I want you to sing, that I'd try to make that like bits or a donation or something along those lines. And so it's like there's so few ways that we can, like, until we become partner, we can monetize what we do, that the Twitch points are different too, because that's why like Facebook doesn't even have that option, right? Like they can but there's no like channel points on Facebook, so you can it's easier to kind of, if you want something done, you get to choose what the value is, and Twitch hasn't already set a standard or a currency, if you will, that is basically just hyperinflated and easy to get. So
I can't even see my channel points when I'm on Streamlabs. So when people have to tell me when Streamlabs doesn't tell you, like, doesn't show you in the chat, like it doesn't show you channel point redemptions, it doesn't show you Facebook replies, it doesn't show you certain things. So I miss some things by using Streamlabs chat. So people have to tell me, oh, Ply, they went in for a positive message, or they went in for this, or they went in for that.
Right.
I can't even see it, so I don't even really like focus too much on channel points. I have a couple that are like Ply's overly positive message or something. Ply. Yeah, Polka de Ply
came from that.
Yeah, Polka de Ply, I think, maybe, I don't even remember. So
well, the reason is I did it. It's you can edit the emojis, and one of the things you can edit is add a finger that's like pointing.
Yeah,
and where it went right to your booty, and so I edited it and put it in there and said Polka de Ply, and that's where Polka de Ply came from, was using channel points to stick a finger up your butt, basically.
Well, hey, there's no better note to end this episode on than Polka de Ply. Thank you so much for joining us on episode 2 of Reboot Engage, everybody. If you're watching us on YouTube, leave a comment below. Tell us what you guys think of the hot tub situation on Twitch.
Shout out our channels, all of it.
I'm working on that right now. That's what I'm. What?
I thought you were ending this. I thought you were ending it before.
No, it's okay.
Do it again.
It's all right.
Do a restart. You can edit it out.
Yeah, no, great. No, that's more. That's 10 more minutes of my life that I gotta now fucking edit. Yeah, no, I'm not editing this now. Now I'm gonna just leave it like this. So anyway,
I just thought you didn't want to edit it out. Okay.
no, I'm not gonna edit it out. Just let me finish. Anyway, wherever I was.
We still have 6 minutes.
No, we don't have 6 minutes. We
54,
don't have 6.
44.
So this is getting cut right here at 54. So anyway, don't forget to follow us, guys. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can definitely leave a comment down below. You can find us at PlyRockNation and Preacher Oron, both on YouTube. We'll have the video up there. We want to know what you guys think of the hot tub situation on Twitch, how they should handle it. We'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Also, we're on Spotify, iTunes, and Amazon Music. Make sure if you can leave us a review over there, that really helps our show. Make sure you hit that follow button over there. This has been another episode of Reboot Engage with Ply and the Preach. Preach, I'll see you next time.